is Candace, aka Picasso baby, and today we're going to be showing you how to create your very own drunken love. If you're new here, welcome. If you've been here before, thank you so much for stopping back by to paint with me today. So as you all know, it is the month of love. It is February, so we're celebrating Valentine's Day. So of course I had to bring you another tutorial, and this one is for the lovers. So I have a special guest because we are going to be doing a date night tutorial. So before we get started, as always, make sure you turn on your post notifications, like, comment, and subscribe, and we're going to go ahead and get started on our painting. Before we get started, I'm going to go over everything that we're going to be working with today. So as always, I'm using a 16 by 20 inch canvas. Remember, you can use this canvas size of your choice. Also want to make sure that you get a water cup with cold water and napkins or a rag to dry your brushes. You want to make sure you have some different size acrylic brushes to paint with. I am also working with acrylic paint. Today I'm using the colors Phthalo Blue, Titanium White, Mars Black, Chrome Yellow, and Bright Red. And we're going to be doing a little bit of drawing, so you want to make sure you grab yourself a pencil or a permanent marker, or you can grab both. That way you can use the pencil first in case you make any mistakes, and then you can go over it with the marker. So you want to make sure you grab everything, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Okay, so as I said, we're working on a date night painting, and this painting is actually going to be two paintings that make one. So I have my date here with me today. This is Ricardo. Ricardo, say hi.
What up, though?
So we are going to start out by drawing out our sketches, and then we'll paint. So I'm using a permanent marker to start with, but remember, you can start with a pencil. And the great thing about this is you're just mirroring everything that your partner is going to be doing. So I'm going to start it off, and Ricardo's going to repeat every step that I do. So the first thing I want to do is I want to create the opening of my wine glass. So I'm going to start at the middle of the canvas because remember, everything is going to meet up to make one complete painting. So I'm going to start at the middle here, and I'm going to do a curve over. And Ricardo's going to do the same thing on his.
Okay, so we're going to start at the middle here. And then we're going to just curve it up, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Repeat my curve. Now the next thing I want to do is I want to close my glass off. I'm going to simply close it off by curving over. And it's not going to go down to the same point. It's just going to go off the canvas. And now Ricardo's going to do the exact same thing.
Now we're just going to bunny ear it to about right here, guys.
Yeah. Now pull it all the way over.
Oh.
Yeah. Just all the way off the canvas.
Oh.
There we go. So you'll know you're doing this correctly if you end up with bunny ears, like he said. Now I want to do my entire glass. So my glass, I'm just pretty much doing like a U shape. If you want a different glass, I'm doing a wine glass. He's also doing a wine glass. But if you want like a martini glass or something, you can do the shape of your choice. But I am going to start from the edge here. And I'm going to pull a really wide U around. And you see, I don't pull it back up to the top here. I just pull it off to the canvas. So now Ricardo's going to do the same thing. He's going to come from the outside and pull a U over to meet me here.
You got any tips or tricks for the U? My first line was kind of...
Well, as long as you have this curve, you're just going to... So since my point is already here, and if whoever is your partner, as long as you already have yours, your partner is going to come from the opposite side, and they're just going to curve to the end of your line here. So their line needs to meet up to where your line ended.
Okay, I think I can do that.
I think you can. All right, so we have two glasses now. Now the last thing we need to add in is the stem of our glasses. Actually, we have two things, but the first thing we're going to add in is the stem. Now for the stem, we can do this part together.
We got one glass.
We have two glasses. So from the bottom of my U, I'm not going to start right in the middle. I'm going to come from the side of it, and I'm going to curve a line down like that. And Ricardo's going to do the same thing. Don't start from the middle. Yeah. Yep. Starting from the side just a bit, and you're going to curve down. Looking good. Now you're going to mimic that same line on the other side of your glass. All right. So before we're finished drawing, I'm also going to draw in my wine. That way I know what part is my glass, what part is my background, and because our wine is going to end up making the shape of a heart. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to come from the side here of my glass. I am going to go over, and then I'm going to curve up and make a heart shape there. So Ricardo's going to end up doing the same thing. So you're going to come from here, curve up, and make a heart. Half of a heart, yep.
Here we go.
Yeah. Now, the great thing about this painting is the name of it is Drunken Love. So if it looks like you were drunk while you was painting this, it's okay. You were just drunk in love on Valentine's Day. We've all been there. So before I finish up, I want to close this off. I'm going to close this off by actually rounding this out and just pulling it to the edge of my glass there. Ricardo's going to attempt to do the exact same step.
Thank you. Where did you start?
Right there. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, look at that. Now you can put your pencils, your markers, your pens away and go ahead and grab your paint and your paintbrush. Now that we have the drawing completely done, we're gonna go ahead and start to paint the background of our painting in. So our glass is, of course, glass is see-through, so we're gonna be painting a little bit inside of our glass as well. I'm gonna mark off the areas that you wanna paint your background color, and then you can start to fill them in. Now, I'm doing a blue and white background, and so is Ricardo. If you would like to do a different color background, remember you can use the color or the paint of your choice, but I'm gonna be doing blue. So I'm gonna take a little bit of my blue, and I'm using my biggest wide flat brush, and I'm gonna mark off where I'm putting it. So it's gonna be all around the glass. I'm also gonna have it inside of the stem, inside of the opening of the glass, and also above the wine. So for this part, you do want to make sure you mark off where it's supposed to go so that you don't put it anywhere it's not supposed to be. So Ricardo, you can go ahead and mark yours off. So I'm not just doing blue by itself, I'm gonna be doing blue and white. So I'm actually just gonna pick the two colors up and let them blend right on my canvas. And again, you're gonna be filling it in all of these areas, and try to leave your outline showing. That way you don't lose the shape of your glass and the shape of your wine. If you need to use a smaller brush to get closer to the lines so that you don't lose them, feel free to switch to a smaller brush, but you just want to go ahead and start to fill in your background.
Okay guys, so while we're doing this, we're gonna just pull some of these date night cards that Candace brought along with us. I think it's called Tonight's Conversation, if you guys want to check that out. So the first question we have here is, tell me something I'd be surprised to know about you.
Something you would be surprised to know. I don't think it would be like the biggest surprise, but kind of, because so Ricardo's really into sports. Like this is a sportsman through and through. I'm not into sports as much. I do like college football, but that's, just because, I went to Michigan State. Football, all of the sports mean a lot to us, but football means a whole lot. But growing up, I was very much a tomboy. There was a football coach that lived across the street from us, and his daughter was a tomboy too. And it was to the point where we played football in the street, no shoes. I played basketball with the boys. My brother hated it.
You did what?
Yeah, I was very much a tomboy.
In the street with no shoes?
In the street, no shoes. Because he was real country, so he used to make us get out there in the field. So yeah, I think that's something you would be surprised to know.
Absolutely. I definitely can't see you out there shooking and juking.
Yeah, not today.
But that's what's up, though. That's what's up. I like that.
So what is something I would be surprised to know about you?
Something that you would be surprised to know about me.
Mm-hmm.
I think that seeing that I went to a performing arts school, and as everyone else can see as well, my painting is not done yet, but let's just say I'm not the best when it comes to drawing and creating timeless classics.
I
you
think
know.
you're doing great.
Thank you, babe. You're supposed to say that. But I am into, as you know, music, all of the other arts. I went to school for performing arts, as I said. I was a part of the band. I went to college for band and music. But when it comes to drawing and designing, I think one reason that I'm saying that it would be something that you don't know, because you do know I love to design clothes.
Right, so that is surprising to me because you design clothes. So I would have thought like, oh, this is gonna be a breeze for him.
No, not at all, not at all. But I am having a great time, and I think that I still got some time. You know.
I always like to tell people, like, especially when I'm teaching my actual paint party classes, my paint and sip classes, I always tell people when you start your painting, it's like a little baby. And when you actually start adding different steps, like your first 2 to 3 steps, it's in its teenage stage. It's in that kind of ugly, pimple, adolescent, like really growing up stage. And then when you finish, you blossom into a beautiful adult. So we just gotta wait to get to the end. We just gotta wait for it to grow up a little bit. But it's getting here.
Another question?
I think so. I think we can do another question.
Okay, the second question. Describe your ultimate dream vacation.
Let's see. Ultimate dream vacation. Definitely somewhere warm. Definitely somewhere off the water. I love the beach, but I don't like being in beach water. If that makes sense. Like, take me to a pool. We can hang out on the beach for a minute, but then take me to a pool. I like controlled waters. But yeah, definitely somewhere warm, no children. No children, all inclusive, alcohol in my hand at all times. You know, yeah, great food, great drinks, great other things. I think that's a good old vacation.
I can't knock you on that one. I can't knock you on that one. That sounds nice.
Where would you go on your dream vacation?
It would probably be Panama.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys have been to the Panama Canal or Panama City, Panama, but it's a beautiful city. You know, it has a lot of things to do, not only for tourists, but just inner city, you know, get to know the community and the culture. I didn't get to take advantage of some of those things. I did go once when I was in the Navy, but I would love to go back, especially with someone that meant a lot to me. I think there's a lot of romantic things to do there. You know, it's just one of those places that you gotta kind of go to. You know what I mean? I've spoken to you several times about Panama, right?
We can work that out.
Okay.
We can work that
I
out.
hope so.
I think we can work that out.
Would you be excited for that trip?
I've never even thought about going to Panama, but literally I just told him this since I've met him, since we started dating, he has probably talked about Panama like at least twice a week. So we're gonna go back there because clearly it's a great place. I think we would have a great time there together, and like I said, it's long as it's warm, as long as it got some drinks, as long as it got my man, we're good. So I think it would be a great time. We can add that to the list.
What else they got there?
I don't know. That's what you're taking me to see. So as you're painting, once you get your entire background filled in, if you need to take a drying break, you definitely can. If you want to use a blow dryer to dry it, make sure you dry it on the cool setting. If not, just give yourself about 10 to 15 minutes, and then we are going to come back and start on the next step together in just a few.
Few moments later.
All right, so once your painting is dry, we're going to start to add on our wine next. Now, you can do the wine of your choice. I am a Riesling girl. I like white wines. So I'm going to do a white wine. Ricardo's going to do a red wine. Now, for the white wine, I am switching for both wines. We're switching to a medium round brush. So you do want to make sure you grab a smaller brush. Unless you're comfortable with the big brush, then you can stick with that one. But I am going to be picking up white and a little bit of yellow. And I'm just going to allow it to blend right on the canvas. And I'm filling in all of my wine and all of my wine going into the shape of the heart here. Now, Ricardo's going to do the same thing. The only difference is he's going to pick up red and a little bit of black. You don't need a whole lot of black. If you like the red how it is, you can use it as is. But if you want to make it more like an actual red wine, then you're going to pick up red and a little bit of black, or you can mix it on your plate. So go ahead and add yours on.
A little bit of black.
A little bit of black. So if it turns dark like that, what I suggest, can I use your brush for a second?
Absolutely, sweetie.
Thank you. What I suggest is just mixing red with a little bit of black on your plate. That way you can see the exact shade that it's gonna be, and you can go through and just fill it in. And you can blend that right out. So we're just gonna work on filling in our wine, and we'll do a couple more questions for you all.
Okay, we got another question from tonight's conversation. If you were to cook for me right now, what dish would you make and why?
If I were to cook for you right now, so I've cooked for you a few times at this point. The very first thing I made for you was Marry Me chicken. Yep, I made Marry Me chicken over pasta with broccoli.
Yep.
And I've made more things since then, but I think if I was to cook for you now, I don't know. I probably would try out my steak on you next.
Okay.
That, or I don't know if you Mexican like I am. But I love Mexican food. So I would either I probably would try out my steak on you, or really, 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 really good tacos.
Okay. Seeing that you are a chef, Candace, I don't know what I could cook for you that would be edible or
I was
to
gonna
you.
say, what would you cook?
My best meal, I think, is spaghetti. I learned it from my grandmother. It was her favorite meal to cook. It was my favorite meal to eat from her, or that she prepared when I was a kid. It's almost like Italian style. A lot of different vegetables, and it's almost like someone called it a goulash. But that's how I came up eating spaghetti. So
now you have to cook that one.
Okay. For sure.
Because you can always trust granny recipe, like.
Absolutely.
So yeah, now I want to taste it. So again, as you're filling it in, you want to make sure that you go over everything. And even though we made these lines that kind of goes over our wine, you're going to paint right over those lines. If you can still see those lines a little bit, like how I had white wine, so the yellow's a little bit transparent, I'm going to go back in and go over those lines. but you're gonna paint it in completely. You don't wanna leave those lines showing.
I see a lot of white lines on mine.
You
But
haven't
speaking
finished
of,
it.
what tips would you give? Do you get a lot of viewers that you think are beginner painters? And if you do, what tips would you give someone like me that's not necessarily, well, I'm a novice when it comes to that?
I do get a lot of beginner paintings because, again, this is a beginner friendly channel. I also get a lot of people that used to paint and have now fallen back in love with it, so they're doing tutorials with me, which I absolutely love. I'm so happy that I can be on that journey with you as you fall back in love with something that you loved before. As far as tips, I would just say everybody, as you can see, we follow the same steps, right? Everybody's painting is always going to come out completely different. So just painting is really something where you have to trust the process and you have to see it through. If you don't see it through, you'll never know what it was really supposed to look like. I always tell people in my classes, when you get frustrated, take a step back. It's okay to walk away so that you can come back and see a different view of it. It's also okay to take a step back because you don't see all the imperfections in an actual painting until you walk up on it. So take that step back so you can see the overall view. And another thing you can do to really keep you encouraged, take a picture of it with your phone. It looks completely different, and I feel like you get to see what it looks like to other people, and just a better view of it. So see it through, trust the process, and if you need to, take that step back so that you can see the full view of it.
Okay.
Okay, red wine, looking good over there.
Okay. So take the step back.
Take the step back. So as you're finishing up your wine, if you want to add anything else in your wine, for example, if you want to add any extra colors, like going in and blending in some white, or if you were doing red wine, you could blend in a little bit more red. If you want to do anything like that, you absolutely can. If not, all you're going to do is give yourself a quick drying break. That way you can let all of this dry, and we're going to come back and finish up the outline and all of the details.
One eternity later.
So now that your painting is completely dry, we're going to start back on outlining everything and really cleaning it up. So remember, we did most of our glass and our background is the same color, of course. So we want to go back over those outlines, the lines that you can still see, and specifically the stem. We want to bring all of that back out and clean these up. So I'm going in with my smallest brush. Ricardo has his as well. And I'm going to be outlining with black. If you want to outline with white or a different color, you can outline with the color of your choice. But we're going to outline the opening first because it's the most important part. So you want to do this step right along with me, and we're doing it the exact same on both canvases. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start back at this line at the corner here, and I am going to outline this. And as I'm doing this line, I'm going to go right over my wine. So I'm not stopping when I get next to the wine. I'm actually going to carry this line all the way over. So I'm just pulling it over to the edge of the glass. So now you see how it looks like the wine is actually inside of the glass or behind that line. That's exactly what you want. Now, as for the top, the opening there, I am going to outline that as well, but I'm not going to outline over the wine. I'm going to skip and go over to the side there, because this time I want it to look like the wine is coming up out. So make sure you don't cover the wine when you do that top line. Now, everything's super simple. You're just gonna go back and outline your glass and outline your stem to bring that back out. So while we're working on our last little steps, you got any more questions for us, Ricardo?
Absolutely.
What's the questions?
Let's see here. You want a question from Ricardo or a question from the game?
I think I want to go with a question from Ricardo.
Okay. Question from Ricardo. What are the benefits to a couple getting together, doing something like this that might be out of the norm as far as date nights are concerned. I know this is the first time I did a painting date night. So could you kind of give me some of the benefits to sitting down and making a nice painting with your baby?
One thing I always tell people is if you've never painted before, and even if you have, doing it with somebody else, you get to create memories and masterpieces. So every time you look at your painting, you have that memory to hold on to. The same way if you go back and you look at a picture and you're like, oh, I remember that day. It's like you now have this memory of something that you may have never done before, something that your partner may have never done before, and you all got to experience that for the first time together. It's super intimate, it's super vulnerable because, again, it's something you've never done. You might be a little bit insecure about it as you're doing it, but like I said, even with Ricardo, at first he felt like he was struggling, but look how it's coming out now. So I think there's a lot of benefits to
My wine glass looks like a margarita.
It's okay. I think there's a lot of benefits to doing this with your partner. Just creating those memories together and just trying something new and keeping each other encouraged as you try something new.
I like that.
What did you like most about this?
I haven't picked up the brushes in a while, you know what I mean? So it felt good to get back on. Actually, I just like doing something different, you know what I mean? I know that this is something that you do, so to step into your space was pretty dope.
Welcome to my world.
Absolutely, absolutely. I always tease you about what you guys are going to see. It's my favorite part of the video.
So his favorite part of all of my videos is the opening when I introduce myself. But of course, you'll see that at the beginning. If you don't know what he's talking about, rewind it to the beginning. It's the first couple seconds. It's his favorite part. So as you're working on the outline, once you are finished, the last thing I'm going to do, and I'm not washing my brush, I'm going to take a little bit of white, and I'm just going to kind of go through and add some quick little highlights anywhere you want to see it on your glass, just to give it a little bit of extra detail. You can even add some inside of your stem if you'd like. Again, just giving it a little bit of extra detail. Yeah, those white highlights will look good on your red. You did good, baby. I like that. You gonna hang this at home?
No.
Okay. Maybe next time. And once you are finished with that, the very last thing you want to make sure to do is simply signing your name. So I keep using my smallest brush, and I just use a little bit of white paint, and I sign my initials right in the corner. You can sign yours wherever you'd like. It's completely up to you. And once you have signed your painting, you now have your very own Drunk in Love painting. Thank you all so much for stopping by to paint with me today. Again, if you are new here, I hope you had a great time. If you've been here before, thank you for coming back. As always, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and turn on those post notifications, and I will see you in the next tutorial.
Did I spell that wrong?
Yes, it's 2 C's.
Bye guys.